I'm going to share with you 3 things that I've stopped doing that have completely transformed our home education days. The first thing that I never do is I never worry about socialisation. I'm getting pretty tired of it being the first thing that is brought up when you talk to someone who doesn't know anything about home education, about why you're home educating and what you're doing. And one of the first things that they say is, how will your child make friends? How will they socialise? And I think this is getting pretty old now. It's fairly obvious to most people, especially people in the home education world, that socialisation is pretty easy. Your child is socialising every time they leave the house, when they go to the library, when they go to the shops, and they're learning how to be in society, aren't they? And that's what socialisation is. What I would say is slightly harder and slightly a bigger issue, in my opinion, is community. So socialisation is a given. They can go to clubs and they can go to activities in the home education community, clubs outside the home education community. They can do so many different things every day if they wanted to. You could be out all day long doing different activities and things like that. And so socialisation isn't really a concern. What I would say is a bigger issue is the lack of community. And this is not just a home education thing. I think this is a UK-wide thing that a lot of people would say that they are finding it hard to find community. And I would say that is much more important than socialisation as such. Building deep connections with people is much more important. So instead of worrying about socialisation, I focus on expanding our communities and deepening our connections there. The second thing that I never do is I never worry about what I'm going to do next. I never get to a point in my day and think, what am I going to do next? Because I have a very clear rhythm and very clear plan for every single day. We have a plan that we follow on the days that we're home. We have a very specific plan that we follow, and one thing moves to the next thing, moves to the next thing very smoothly. And when we're out, there is also a plan of where we're going to be and what we're going to do. So there is a very clear rhythm to our days, and I never think, what am I going to do next? Because we know what we're going to do next because it's written out in a plan. Now, if you would like to feel calmer in your home education days and you would like help creating a daily rhythm, then I'll link below my guide that I have that will take you step by step through the process. And it'll tell you exactly how to start your first year of home education and help you create your daily rhythm. Having a clear plan is the opposite of what it sounds. It sounds very restrictive, doesn't it? It feels like, okay, I need to do this at this time and then I do that. And you feel like you have to check boxes and keep on schedule. And that's not what I mean when I say a daily rhythm. What I mean is more like blocks of time when certain things are going to happen. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to happen at that exact time, but it does mean that you're going to get things done. You're not going to get to the end of the day and think, what have I done all day? Because you have a plan that you've stuck to as much as possible. And it is flexible, it's not super strict, but it is a plan, and you do need a plan. And I would say that if you are feeling overwhelmed, one of the best ways to reduce that overwhelm is having a plan. It feels like it would add to your mental load, but actually the opposite is true. It actually reduces your overall mental load because you don't need to be thinking constantly, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? What's the best thing to do next in the moment? And instead, all you have to do is follow your plan. So a daily rhythm is a really helpful tool to have. And I get to points in my day now where I can sit down and have a cup of tea and relax and enjoy watching my children play. And I have moments within my day, whereas before I wouldn't have had those kind of moments and it would have felt much more chaotic and stressful. The third thing that I never do is I never worry about if my child is learning anything. I never worry about what my child is learning. I used to get to the end of my home education day and being like, what did we even do all day? I knew we did stuff. I thought some of it was learning based, but I couldn't remember any of what we'd done, and it felt like we just hadn't got anything done that day. Now I write stuff down. I write down what we did. I keep a clear track record, a clear progress report of what we do essentially, and I just write stuff down so that I can remember and that I can refer back to it. So in those rare moments when I have a wobble of, oh, we didn't get anything done, I can look at my notebook and be like, clearly I get loads of stuff done, so these worries are silly. And it really puts things into perspective. A really simple exercise that you can do if you are looking at your day and thinking, is this even learning a lot of what I'm doing in the day? Like, are they learning anything? What you can do is write down what you did for a whole day. And then what you can go do is go onto the government website and look up the national curriculum for England, if you're in England, or the curriculum for excellence if you're in Scotland, and you can see how you are learning and how that compares to what the government has laid out. Now, I know your child is not in school for a reason, right? So this is just a simple exercise to make you feel better about yourself. So, for example, if your child played outside with their siblings for half of the day, and you've written that down and what they did that day, you can then look at the curriculum for excellence, national curriculum, and see how many of those different areas that the curriculum covers that you have ticked off without even realising it. For example, your children are learning collaboration skills, they're learning leadership skills, problem-solving skills, conflict resolution, which is a big one in our house. They are learning, they're ticking off the expressive arts box if they're making up little plays for each other. They're ticking off the health and well-being box because they're outside running around. Like, just that one activity ticks off so many different areas in these national curriculums that are available. And I'm not saying this to suggest that what you're doing is perfect and you shouldn't add anything or change anything. This is just to help you feel a bit more relaxed if you're in your first year of home education and you're feeling like, we're not learning anything, my child's not learning anything. This is a really great exercise to kind of help calm those nerves a little bit. Another example of something you might have written down is if your child did a little learning workbook. Maybe straight away there, you have ticked off literacy and English and maths, another 2 areas you've done from just doing a little half-an-hour workbook with your child. Maybe another day you went to the science centre or you went to a museum, and that ticks off what social studies or science is, depending on which one you went to. And don't just do this for one day, write down what you did for a week and then look over the whole week and see how many of the different curriculum areas you are naturally ticking off without even trying too hard. And that will really help you feel much more confident in yourself, and you can give yourself credit for all the work that you are already doing. I hope this video was helpful to you if you are in or if you're going into your first year of home education with a young child, and I'll see you in my next one.